Well, the APC's National Publicity Secretary, Felix Morka, joins us now, starting with Tinubu's call for healing. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's begin with that call from Tinubu. A lot of people are saying, really? I mean, is Tinubu saying that we can move on now, especially when his own spokespersons, in the person of Bayo Onanuga, made that statement and still, grandstanding on it, saying he does not regret making a statement that seems to put a particular ethnic group on the edge. And nothing really strong has come from the Tinubu camp against that statement.
Thank you for having me this evening. Now, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is the president-elect. No one else is the president-elect. So he speaks for himself and speaks on behalf of the government that he's about to lead. Now, every other individual in Nigeria has their freedom to express themselves, including Bayo Onanuga. And as you referenced, the president-elect is very clear. He's called upon every Nigerian, those who contested with him, against him, and those who voted even against him. He's saying that that time has come for all of us to bear witness to our citizenship. This is the only country we have, and he's just been elected to lead that country, upon inauguration as President of the Federal Republic. And in his statement, which we are looking at, he was very clear. He says, look, elections are over, both at the national and the state levels. And it is time for all of us to embrace each other and recognize, our common, citizenship in Nigeria, and to work together to actually move this country in the direction that it needs to go. Yes, of course, in that statement, he recognizes all of the challenges that exist. The fact that the country is at that point where the sensibilities are very frail and fragile. He recognizes that. And Asiwaju is someone who knows this country well. He's been knowing Nigeria for a very long time. He's given of himself through all of the military dictatorship in service to Nigeria, and which has brought him to this day. So, and as Father Kuka said, Bishop Kuka said in the last couple of days, that Asiwaju is the only one he knows who is coming to this office, fully prepared to hit the ground running, because he's been thinking about this country, and he's been thinking about what it is can be done to get this country to turn the corner in the direction of really restoring faith, restoring some confidence, and some level of integrity to our national life. So he's ready to do that.
To get clarification, if Bishop, Matthew Kuka actually said those words. Let's come in. You've said that the president-elect can also is speaking on behalf of his party and the country he's going to be leading. There must be some key things that we expect from the party and his men going forward to show that truly the journey to healing has begun. Have we started seeing any of such?
Yes, there's a whole lot. I mean, the party, the All Progressives Congress, is currently consulting massively and setting up different nodes and committees to really reach out to those especially who feel aggrieved, after these elections, both at the national and now the state levels. We are well aware of the enormous challenges of bringing this country together, to a common purpose. To rediscover the reason we are Nigeria, we are together, all of the, the diversity, the ethnic, religious, pluralism that we have, the reason we are bound together in oneness. We have committees that have been, created as we speak to really go out and, across the lines, across the partisan divide, to bring people together, to begin to really figure out, and elevate those things that unite us. And I think, sort of distance ourselves from some of those things that divide us. Divisions are important in democracy. Democracy is not a painless system. It is. Sometimes it can be painful. Even when we say democracy, it sounds, very romantic and very, proper. But democracy also presents its own challenges, and I think that we must recognize that and understand that what we're going through right now is not unique to Nigeria. It is there in every country. Some of the world's leading democracies, they go through that. After the elections in the United States between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, we saw all of the massive divisions. But you know what? The country has moved on. They're making progress. Nigeria must move on, irrespective. Those who feel aggrieved, who feel like they must, ventilate their grievances, are, of course, already filing cases in court, as we saw just, I think, in the last 24 hours with the Labour Party, led by Peter Obi, who was the candidate of that party for the contest in the presidency, filed an action in court. That is proper. We welcome that. But, while that is going on, we are simply saying, and I think what our candidate, the president-elect is saying, is that everyone must now wrap their mind around the need to move the country forward and allow due process of law to take, its full force. If and when all of these matters are heard before the courts, and the courts make decisions, we must all, at the end of the day, submit to the authority of the judicial system to adjudicate on some of these very, thorny matters that have arisen from our elections.
Yes, but very quickly, let me bring your attention to the statement that you ascribed to Bishop Matthew Kukah. He has actually, put out a statement denying that point that was made, that he never actually made any such statement favoring Bola Tinubu above the other, presidential contenders. But back to the issue of Bayo Onanuga and Tinubu's statement, he actually, let me just quote what Tinubu said here. I strongly condemn reports of arson in one state. Tinubu did not mention Lagos especially, and that is where this arson attacks and ethnic slurs actually happened. It almost seems like playing the ostrich here. And some are questioning, is that what the Tinubu administration will look like? Will it permit, will it allow, such ethnic attacks?
No, I don't think so. What I understood from the statement, when he referred to the state where there was some kind of rambunctious celebration of, the governorship election victory in that state. I suspect, I don't know for sure, because, in his statement he didn't say specifically, but if I'm to speculate, I suspect he's referring to Kano, some of what we saw after the NNPP won, was declared, victorious in that election. We saw all of that, the high energy celebration on the streets, in Kano. I suspect that's what it's referring to. Now, look, I don't think that the statement was long enough to specifically address all of the elements of comments and statements and, all kinds of suggestions by people across the country. You cannot do justice to that in a very terse statement which the president-elect, issued. But what I am saying is that I think that the reference to Bayo's statement in Lagos, was completely covered. Not just Bayo. We're pinpointing Bayo, but I think that there's been so many things said on all sides of the political divide, from the APC side, from the Labour side, from the PDP side. A whole lot of things has been said, and I think that's what the president-elect is saying, that we need to completely, bring this to a halt. We need to take a deep breath and now reset the button, push that reset button, and really take this country to that point where we can recognize all of the differences, all of the preferences expressed at the polls, all of the disagreements, the very intense, I think, passionate arguments made, for and against all of the candidates and all of the parties and the issues at stake. But he is saying that the only thing that should trump all of this divisiveness is the best interest of Nigeria, the national interest of this country. Because, this is our country. This is the only country we know. And the elections are over. The good news is that those who choose to...
apologies for putting
Yes.
in because we're running out of time. And quickly here, we've also seen a known ally of Atiku Abubakar, the governor of Anambra State, and Dr. Soludo, congratulating the president-elect and specifically also asking for the release once he's taken the saddle of Nnamdi Kanu. Tell us what you think of that.
Look, the president-elect is someone who understands Nigeria and loves Nigeria. I expect that, after his inauguration, once he becomes president of the Federal Republic, he will, look into every case, every issue that has to do with that bears on the unity of this country. And I'm sure he will consult widely and take, advisory and make the right decisions that will move this country in the direction of greater unity and greater peace for the Federal Republic. I have no doubt about that. And I think that I also commend Governor Soludo for his very, I think, statesman-like statements and comments, and if you will, some of the goodwill message he sent to the president-elect. That is exactly what we are calling for. That does not mean that people don't have a right to go to court if they decide to so do. But I think that we must help this system of government. By the way, the Washington Post in their editorial were very unequivocal. They celebrated this moment for Nigeria. That even though people are aggrieved for one reason or the other, but that this country is setting the best example for Africa, leading this continent in that direction of greater democracy, to consolidate the whole idea that people have power in their hands, and that at the polls they have the autonomy to make decisions about those who govern them. That is what Nigeria has done, as against the background that we've come from of military dictatorship, and that we're able to actually successfully transition from one democratic government to another with all the flaws that there may be. We are doing that. The Washington Post, I think, was very clear in celebrating Nigeria on this victory.
Well, the EU observer mission that spoke on its observations over the past election actually talked about the threat of democratic backsliding. But very quickly, before we let you go, what are your thoughts about APC's loss in Delta State? I mean, you are from Delta. How does that make you feel?
The music plays on in Delta. What happened was not, quite the election that it ought to have been. It was a complete, travesty. I was there. I just returned today, just a few hours before I, came into the studio from Delta. So I was a witness to the very, obscene levels of not just vote buying, but of, naked violence that was unleashed during that election by the ruling party, the PDP in the state. But you know what? Again, as I've said on this program, the candidates for the office of governor, the deputy president of the Senate, Agege, is a Democrat. He knows what to do, and we know what to do. So we're not going to come and saturate the airwaves with protests and screams. But be rest assured that the music has not stopped in Delta. It will play, quietly, but affirmatively, until I think justice is obtained in the case of Delta.
Before we let you go in 30 seconds, you did say that Tinubu will prioritize, he will give priority to expanding the civic space and all of that. And I'm wondering, will he look at expunging the issue of state of origin, for example, and under his administration, will he encourage a non-indigene to run for governorship or any position, whether it's in Lagos or any part of the country?
Well, look, if there's anyone who can bring the fullness of the constitutional liberty that we are afforded in this country to bear on, both the electoral and political life of our country. I think it's Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. He's probably, one of the leading lights of our democracy. He's been there. Say whatever you may about him, you cannot question his commitment to the democratic project. And I think that he's just been handed the opportunity as president to explore all of the, frontiers of democracy and bring the fullness of that to bear. I can't be specific about the question you ask, but I think that, and he said so in his statement, that he will, completely open up the civic space for people to express themselves and to, engage and contest for more freedoms.
I think that's a fine place. That's a fine place
that.
for us to leave it. APC National Publicity Secretary Felix Morka, many thanks for speaking with us here.